Live from Arkansas's breaking news leader, Fox 16 News at 9 starts now.
Tonight, floodwaters forcing major roads to shut down in Jacksonville, while in Garland County, high winds caused damage to several buildings.
Tornado warnings forcing students out of the classroom and into a storm shelter. Thousands still without power tonight, leaving them in the dark. And Mother Nature pounding the natural state with heavy rains and strong winds. Good evening, everyone. I'm Donna Terrell.
I'm Kevin Kelly. Chief Meteorologist Jeff Baskin standing by in the Weather Center. Jeff, the good news is at this hour the worst appears to be over, but how are conditions right now?
Well, the good news is the severe weather threat is done across the state. We still do have some rain, especially across eastern portions of the state where we do have a flash flood warning in this bright green area, including areas such as Independence County, down into a Prairie, Monroe County, where the rain is still falling. But as you head westward, the rain coming to an end. Taking a larger look at the radar, you can see the heavier rain and the line of thunderstorms that came through earlier in the day has now crossed over the Mississippi River, and that means the severe weather threat has come to an end for the state. But behind the front, we still have some fairly heavy rain, mainly across parts of eastern into southeast Arkansas, around Deshay over towards Drew County, around the Monticello area. Still some heavy rain. You can see that's where we have the heaviest across parts of northeast Arkansas, as well as parts of east central Arkansas. But as we head westward, notice the rain has now come to an end. It's finally stopped raining around the Little Rock area. No more rain around Conway. Finally done for the night, where we've had so much rainfall and some flooding problems, areas that we were showing you around Jacksonville over towards Cabot, the rain coming to an end. Conway, the rain coming to an end, as well as across Little Rock area, Hot Springs. You are also in the clear. Now, as we take a look at our forecast radar through the overnight hours, that rain across eastern Arkansas moves on out, pretty much done by about after midnight. Now, as we go into the morning hours, notice we start to clear out a little bit. We get some drier air coming on in, and that's going to mean, guess what? Some sunshine for tomorrow, but it is going to feel a little bit cool out there, especially with that breeze. Some cooler air coming in from the west behind our front. Temperatures low 50s to the west, warmer ahead of the front. Here's what it looks like in your hour-by-hour forecast. Low 50s for the morning hours with that breeze. That adds a bit of a chill in the air, but back up near 60 by noon. We are talking about a blast of some real chilly air in your 7-day forecast. I'll show you when coming up in just a few minutes.
Well, severe weather is to blame for a lot of damage all across central Arkansas.
Strong winds and heavy rains toppling trees and damaging homes in Hot Springs. And we just learned Hot Springs schools will be closed tomorrow because of all the damage. Fox 16's Ken Buffa joining us live from Garland County. And Ken, I know you spoke with a neighbor who said that they actually feared for their life when that tree came crashing through their home.
Absolutely, Donna. I'm standing right at the divider of where in Hot Springs people have power to my right, but then over my left shoulder you can see where the power outages have began. And neighbors telling me they've been dealing with damages, outages, and just a whole bunch of downed trees since earlier this morning.
That's a Christmas ball that one's up still hanging from up there where our decorations are in the attic.
Steve Goss has a new lease on life.
I thought it was over. I thought it was on top of me.
The first came when he had open heart surgery. The second can be seen all over his kitchen.
Truthfully, after I got clear of it, I stood there and looked up and shook for a minute.
A branch struck the father of 3 after a tree crashed through his home.
Yeah, it came all the way through.
I guess we got to go under this one.
Randy Sultan.
Well, maybe it's better this way.
Full of life.
Here's the rest of the poplar tree, and this was a pin oak, which was probably, I don't know, 100 feet high.
This, the aftermath of Tuesday's storm hitting Hot Springs.
We had 30 seconds of like a sheer wind that was pretty scary, and then all of a sudden we heard the boom.
The storm left hundreds without power.
The tree that's on their property is pretty much laying on that line.
For these two men, it left them
luckily crashed toward the lake, otherwise it would have taken out the house.
With a new appreciation of luck.
All 3 kids, one came from Dallas, one came from Little Rock, one came from North Little Rock.
And life.
Our goal will be try to get it back so we can still have our Christmas family here.
This is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, one of the biggest thing Energy is saying is to make sure you stay away from downed power lines. Those are the most dangerous. They also said the crews are working on restoring power to 12,000 people, and some people might not get that power until midnight tomorrow. We're live in Hot Springs. Ken Booth, Fox 16 News. Back to you.
Yeah, you know what, Ken, I was following you earlier today on Periscope. You were showing us the inside of that homeowner's home and how it's just devastating how it looks. Does he really think he's going to be able to have it ready by the holidays?
Oh, I mean, he's hoping. He said that Santa wasn't on his roof, and then he got the Christmas ornaments already, as you can see, decked out, ready to go. And about $40,000 later, everything should be restored. That's a rough estimate, but he's really hoping that he can replace all that soot with some holiday decorations instead of the ones that crashed through his roof earlier today.
Certainly, that would be nice. All right, thank you.
You just heard Ken talking about the power outages and how Energy is doing all it can to restore that. In fact, we've got a kind of a breakdown of what we want to show you right now. In fact, roughly 11,241 customers are in the dark. Here's a look at the company's website. All those red flags you see there on the map indicate power outages. The worst hit areas at this hour, Garland with about 6,500 customers, followed by Ashley County with 1,100, and then Pulaski coming in just shy of 1,000. Again, Energy crews doing all they can to restore electricity to its customers. We'll keep you posted on that as well. And keep this in mind, Fox 16 always has you covered on the weather situation, so be sure to check our updates on air, online, as well as the Fox 16 app. And don't forget, you can get the latest tomorrow morning on Good Day Arkansas.
And now to a breaking news update we first brought you today on Fox 16 News at 5:30. We have new details tonight since we first learned that a Benton 2-year-old died after being shot.
Yeah, it happened on Nelson Court in Benton this afternoon. Fox 16's Jesse Tenner just got back there after speaking with a family member. And Jesse, obviously, some heavy hearts. I can't imagine what this family's going through.
Oh, exactly. Me neither, Kevin. The little boy's uncle was just beside himself, as you can imagine, after he says he learned his nephew shot himself in the head with a handgun. Doyle David Ashley made it clear he didn't want to pass judgment, but says he doesn't understand how his nephew got his hands on such a lethal gun. Ashley owns a similar gun and says you especially have to keep handguns out of kids' range since they're typically loaded. He says he can't believe something so cold took such a vibrant life.
He was a fun little 2-year-old. I mean, it was, you know, he liked being around his daddy and doing things with his daddy and stuff like that, and he liked being outside. It's a bad thing. It's, you know, it's not good.
Ashley says his nephew was too young to know how to properly handle a gun like that, so the responsibility falls on his parents. And I also spoke very briefly with the boy's father right before he went to the police department, and he told me he's just asking everyone for prayers for his family and, of course, his little boy.
Yeah, they're certainly going to need that, Jesse. Let me ask you this. I know Benton police are obviously investigating how this boy got his hands on the gun in the first place. But you did have a chance to talk to the uncle. Did he give you any indication as to how that may have unfolded?
And Kevin, that's of course the biggest question on everyone's mind, but the only thing he was able to do is speculate. So we're just going to have to wait to see what officers find in their investigation, Kevin.
All right, Jesse, keep us posted. Thanks.
Allegations against you?
I do not want to speak on those things. Thank you very much.
So you don't have anything that you want to say to the public as far as the truth of the allegations or not?
The truth will eventually be found out.
A cross-county judge didn't have much to say to us about allegations against him that Fox 16 investigates, was the first to cover in depth this summer. Today, the commission that disciplines judges had plenty to disclose, and formal charges against the judge will now face his own day in court, but not from behind the bench. Fox 16 investigator Marcy Manley broke the news today. And Marcy, we're talking about 15 pages worth of documents that seem to show an abuse of power.
At this point, these are formal charges, but they're just allegations, and the case will go through a trial process similar to that in a lawsuit. The judge facing allegations that he reduced sentences in exchange for sex, heard cases that he shouldn't have, and there are even questions of criminal violations like the possession of child porn And at this point, he may still end up hearing cases behind the bench until this case is closed.
Today, we announced charges against Judge Joe Bachman.
You might say Tuesday marks a tough day for judges in Arkansas.
Just the fact that we had enough to go forward is tough on the judiciary.
As the Judicial Discipline and Disability Commission levels charges against a sitting district judge in Cross County following a year-long investigation by those in the office.
The district judges are really where we learn, where we trust judges, how they act, how they should act. It's an incredibly important role.
In a 15-page document, Judge Joe Bachman is accused of breaking that trust with a variety of ethical violations and possibly criminal behavior.
Improper relationships with...
Bachman's accused of propositioning those facing charges in his court to exchange sex for fines and reduced sentences.
In cases he should not have been involved in.
Of hearing cases involving family members and men he had sexual relationships with. Also, forcing those men to take photos, endure spankings for his pleasure, for money, and as punishment. And then having these men work for friends, some who are allegedly also in the legal profession, in addition to making payments to public officials involved in criminal investigations in his county.
You throw, some sexual allegations and you throw some money and checks and public officials, it's going to draw some attention, and that's unfortunate, but there's, on the other hand, it's exactly what we do. We are here to protect the public. Anytime you have an issue where it looks like the government has become the lawbreaker, anytime you have a situation where someone who's supposed to be making fair decisions is the one who also may or may not be committing improper acts, it undermines the system.
The Discipline and Disability Commission director doesn't have the ability to remove Bachman from the bench at this point.
I do not want to speak on those things. Thank you very much.
Until the judge answers the allegations during his day in court.
Truth will eventually be found out.
Whether he continues to wear the robe and wield his power remains to be seen. Bachman's attorney tells us that he'll be filing a pleading denying all of the allegations, and the judge plans to fight those allegations at the commission. He has 30 days to respond. Back to you.
All right, Marcy. Thank you. Fox 16 News update now. A Faulkner County man accused of murder has his trial date set. Gary Lee Mallett is accused of killing a Conway man in June of last year. According to Conway police, the body of Daniel Horton was found on Mallett's property in Faulkner County. His pre-trial hearing is set for February 20th in preparation for a March trial. As of tonight, Mallett remains in jail on $2 million bond.
It's time now for a Fox 16 crime alert. Today, a woman is facing charges after police find a bag of marijuana on her during a strip search. Terry Taylor Jones was arrested on Sunday after a traffic stop by the Russellville Police Department. According to our content partner, River Valley Leader, during the stop, police found prescription drugs on her and more than $6,000 in cash. But at the detention center, a female officer searched her and found a bag of marijuana in her privates. She has a plea hearing on December 14th.
Maumelle police are asking for your help finding a suspect caught on camera in an attempted break-in. You can take a look at the video for yourself. You can see the suspect looking in through the windows and then walking up to the door and actually trying to get in. Police say he did break into a car that was parked in the driveway. The video was taken on November 5th. If you have any information, if you recognize this suspect, call Maumelle Police.
Little Rock police on the lookout tonight for a second suspect in connection to a Little Rock bank robbery. It happened this afternoon at the Iberia Bank on West Markham. There were two suspects. One was driving a red-colored getaway car. The other was dressed as a woman. This man, Courtney Daniels, was arrested and is now charged with theft of property and a firearms charge. Police tell us authorities did recover the stolen money.
In tonight's State of the Capitol report, Governor Asa Hutchinson expanding today on his comments opposing Syrian refugees being relocated to Arkansas. The governor says limitations in the ability to fully vet refugees could present a danger. He added that he would withhold state funding to resettle them here. But during an economic development trip to Japan, Hutchinson rebuffed the idea of allowing only Christian refugees to come, and as some people have suggested.
There is someone fleeing with their family from a war-torn country seeking refuge. You don't make distinctions based upon that basis.
Hutchinson cited his experiences at the Department of Homeland Security after 9/11 and recent comments from top intelligence officials. He says they lead him to believe the federal government does not have the capability of assuring terrorists do not pose as refugees to gain access to the country.
Now to a story you'll see only on Fox 16. We've been looking into trends of the racial makeup and academic success at Arkansas's largest school district. We found that over the last 20 years, racial balance at Little Rock Public Schools has greatly decreased. This is true despite studies showing one of the greatest factors in the educational success of minority students is attending schools that are integrated.
I think if schools reflected how the world really is, that would be better because the world is not majority black.
Coming up tomorrow night at 9 on Fox 16, our story on the resegregation of Little Rock schools. You'll hear from a student defying the odds, what the research says, and the different ideas to reverse the trend.
A Fox 16 safety alert tonight. Strong storms popped up in Faulkner County today, and a tornado warning was issued for the area. It was unexpected, and many students were in school at the time. Students in Valonia were taken to safe rooms. As Fox 16's Stephanie Sharp found out, this was one of the very first times for a lot of those kids since the April 2014 tornado.
This afternoon in Faulkner County, a tornado warning was issued and all the students were taken to safe rooms, some for the very first time. The superintendent says these safe rooms can withstand an F5 tornado, one of the safest places in this community.
As storms rolled through the natural state, students like Cameron McCloskey were rushed to 3 different safe rooms in the Valonia district.
They had a place to go to instead of being in the hallways or something.
For many of these students, it was the first time they've had to seek shelter at school after the April 2014 tornado.
You could see some kids that were upset and you know, I'm sure that they're still carrying some pretty hard memories with them.
David Stevens, the Valonia school superintendent, says the shelters may be used as classrooms or after-school rooms on most days, but the building itself is much more.
These are designed to withstand, I believe, F5, and so they're very safe. And it gives a feeling of security for the kids.
Safety first is Cameron's dad Jeremy's biggest concern after the tornadoes hit Valonia.
It makes me feel so much better, you know, that they have a safe place to go to instead of hiding underneath the desk with your arms over your head.
Each school except the intermediate building has a shelter. That school shelter will be built soon. And even though Tuesday's storms were more like a drill for this school,
it worked the way it was supposed to work.
Parents and students alike are glad it's here.
Things like this make it better when your kids have a safe place to go.
I have faith in all the teachers and the principals bringing us over there and keeping us safe.
The intermediate school safe room is expected to be built at the beginning of next year, and by this time next year, it's supposed to be up and running. In Valonia, I'm Stephanie Sharp.
It's a good thing they have that now.
Yeah, work the way it's supposed to work. That's good news.
That's the key.
Yeah.
I detected that too, yeah.